We've got some
Hey, I'm Luis.
And
I'm Luis. And you're listening to the Content is Profit podcast.
We spent the last 4 years learning the strategies and techniques from some of the top marketers in the world on how to create content that turns into profit. And today, we're bringing them to you so you can take action immediately and start creating real content momentum.
If you'd like to learn more about how to turn your content into profit, go to contentisprofit.com. Oh, yeah.
Today, we're going to learn how to become a sales machine and lock your customers for life, or at least for a very long time.
All right, that's so awesome. But before we get started, guys, please go ahead and subscribe. Hit and smash that subscribe button because we're going to have a lot of fun today and in the next episodes as well. So don't forget to follow us on social media at BizBrosco on Facebook and Instagram. Feel free to send us a DM too.
Yeah.
All right. So today's guest we met at a special event. We could tell that she was a popular kid in there, you know, a total extrovert with many friends. So we told ourselves we need to lock down a friendship with her, and so we did.
That's right. In the next event, we finally connected. Talking to her was like riding an avalanche of confidence and happiness. Her goal to get as many Cha Chings for her clients as humanly possible in the most consistent way.
She has had multiple high five-figure months, reviewed over 1,000 sales calls, went ziplining with Russell Brunson in Puerto Rico.
Jealous.
A little bit jealous here. And she has a 100% success rate with clients on $15,000 monthly. Oh my God. And this is an important one.
That's the best one.
She watched all the NBA games before Corona time.
That's right, guys. Introducing the #1 NBA fan and sales master, Miss Brooke Evans.
Yes! Woo! Woo! Welcome, Brooke.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh my gosh.
We are so excited to have you here.
Yes, we're so excited to have you here. That's right, Fonzie.
We're ready to learn. I got my pad and my pen.
Oh my gosh. I just feel like I was introduced on the red carpet in Hollywood. Like, I've never felt better.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, you know, this is a digital stage and we want you to feel super awesome. And you are an awesome friend. So you deserve this and many more things. So
That's right.
Thank you again. So, Brooke, tell our audience a little bit of like who you are, like where you started, and what do you do now?
Yes. So, Brooke Evans, I am a high-ticket sales coach for coaches and consultants that have a high-ticket offer. And it's a blast. Where I started is I was actually doing coaching for quite a while. I was doing mindset coaching for real estate agents, interestingly enough. And I did that for about 3.5 years and always had like a funnel that led to an application where they could schedule sales calls with me, obviously, to come into my program. And I spent over like $100,000 on investments to learn sales. And the reason I kept spending money because I kept thinking that the next investment that I would make would teach me more about how to do it authentically and help me be myself without feeling like slimy or sleazy or even like some direction on how to help them so much, have like breakthroughs and strategies that they would just be like thanking me and like exclaiming my praises and giving me their credit card without any objections. And that was just not the case. And so I ended up taking it into my own hands in 2018 and ended up reviewing 1,024 sales calls, completely changed audience directions, and was just, it was a revamp of me. It was a revamp of my business. It was a revamp of learning sales. And I was like, if I can't invest in someone that will teach me how to do this like ethically, authentically, and without objections, then I'm going to figure it out myself.
Yeah.
So I sat at my kitchen table and like for an entire like 3 months, just head down and reviewed 1,024 specifically of my own sales calls, pulled out the patterns of like what was right, what was wrong, why some closed, why some didn't, and found some very powerful truths that now I teach to my clients who are now consistently closing anywhere between $15,000 and $30,000 every single month. And
amazing.
Yeah, so it's been such a ride, but there are two key lessons I would say that there were the biggest explosive things that I learned through that experience. And I think that the first one was how you sell is how you're going to enroll. And we can talk about that if you guys want, but I think it's one of the reasons why I have such a very, very high, not just close rate, but client stay rate, if you will. And then second, like, how do you really change beliefs on sales calls so that they don't have the excuses, the walls up, all of the lies where they become like a completely different person and then end up saying they needed to like run the numbers or talk to their spouse. So I figured out those two things, and they've been pretty monumental in my life and in my client's life. And now it's just fun to sell. It's just so fun.
That's amazing. I think like that, what you just said, like, it's so fun to like sell. Like, a lot of people are so scared and freaked out of like just like trying to do this, and just like changing that perspective. I mean, we have been in a couple of your trainings, and it is amazing to see you and how much fun you're having. And we're like, we need everybody to see this and experience this, because it's going to change the world. Because we often say, you know, by selling, you're adding so much value to somebody's life, right? And this should be fun. You should not be feeling like you're convincing anybody to do anything.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, people buy because they want that solution. So you're doing them a favor. You're just guiding them, you know, taking them with their hand and be like, hey, like, here's the solution. I'm actually helping you, right? And I think that is impressive. And you said the second thing, right? You said talking about changing beliefs, right?
Yeah.
But I want to go back a little bit in your story, because the first belief that needed to be changed was yours, right?
Yes.
So how did that process look internally? Because, I mean, that's definitely something that has internally, and a lot of people fight so much, you know, between themselves and their own head on these beliefs. So what was it that drove you to change it? How did you change it, right? And then we clearly see the impact right now.
Yeah, that's such a good question. I think two principles come and really stand out for me with this. The first one is like, you can only sell what you've bought. And what I mean by that is it's incredibly hard for anyone to sell a high ticket that has never invested in a high ticket program. Like, it's non-integrous and it's not in alignment. So whether that doesn't show up with your words, it will show up like with your energy and your frequency and your confidence on those sales calls. Because as a coach, you need to have gone like 15, 16, 1,700 more miles ahead than where the so-called prospect is on your sales call. And so if you've never walked that road, it's really, really hard with confidence to say like, you can do this and I've done this as well. Like, so I think the first principle is you need to sell like what you've bought. You need to be truthful about that. And you can't ask someone to invest in a high ticket if you've never walked that road before. I think the second thing for me is selling actually is so easy. Selling is so easy, but it's only easy. It's only easy when you have a plethora of experience and evidence that what you do and what you offer actually gets people results.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot tell you how many clients I have where like, man, their confidence is a little bit off, but the moment I help them recognize, like, one of my clients, he had saved 32 marriages in 1 year, was still only charging $500 for 3 months of coaching. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, you've saved 32 marriages. Can we talk about the implications of that?
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't think I've considered this. And I'm like, no, you haven't, which is why you're not showing up on the sales call with a high price and like with so much confidence and conviction.
Yeah.
So I had to like obsess over the results and like dig in and do the interviews with his clients and understand like why it worked and what implications his like relationship coaching helped. And after he did that, he literally raised his price to $6,000.
Wow.
And instead of it taking 6 months to make $6,000, he made $6,000 in a day.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and you're not inspired, guys,
or my jaw just like dropped to the table for those like listening. Just like picture that it's just amazing. And you mentioned something earlier like that I don't want people to like miss. And you know, going back to what you were explaining before, you sat down in your kitchen listening to 1,000 calls.
Yeah.
Wow, talk about like dedication, right? And you know, we often hear talk about content for you guys watching and listening, right? On how repetition must be a thing, and we talked that content is the initial step for that sale, right? And often we're not brave enough to go back and see our own content or videos or listening to ourselves because we feel so uncomfortable. So I just want people listening to please take Brooke's advice. And just the fact that she sat down 1,000 times, dissected what she did great, what she did wrong, and then fix what was wrong, and then do it again, because it applies to sales, it applies to anything. So I just wanted to make sure to bring that to light, because it's amazing the fact that you did that, and now you're able to help so many other people. So look at the benefits that brought. So amazing. I just wanted to just highlight that for a second, because I thought it was great.
Oh, you were gonna say Brooke? Sorry.
No, and I was really quick, like a shout out to you guys for what you're teaching with content, because I will just say that like if you can have good content where you understand that people buy you by seeing your content first, and then like when they get on the sales call it becomes that more easier to like close them, you will eliminate the setters that you need to hire in your sales team. Like you don't need setters. If you have great content, then like that content is going to make the decision for your prospect by being like, okay, their marketing matches their message. Their marketing matches who they are. And then when I get on that call, because they marketed that they are going to advertise a breakthrough session, and because I actually had a breakthrough session on the call, like this matches, this is authentic, this is who they are. And I just shout out to you guys for what you're doing with content, because it amplifies and it makes selling so much easier.
Thank you for that, Brooke. You didn't have to do that, but we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I want to go back a little bit to the story of the phone calls, right? Because I think people have two choices when they get to a tough situation like that, right? Especially when they have to see back inside themselves and say, okay, am I failing? Where am I failing? They have two decisions, whether they get pretty disappointed and they quit, right? Or they decide to change perspective and look at things as an opportunity for growth. So I commend you again, because you clearly saw that as an opportunity for growth. And I mean, it is difficult to do it once. So now imagine doing it 1,000 times, right? And the other thing that I wanted to add, you were talking about obsessing over the results. And I think that is key for the listeners. And it reminded me a little bit of Tony Robbins in Funnel Hacking Live, right? Because he talked about positive stacking. Yeah. And that was a very powerful moment for my brother and I, because again, like he said, how often do we actually look back and look at our results and the successes that we've had? We do it pretty often with our failures, and we beat ourselves up for doing certain things in the wrong way. So why not do it with the positive, right? And it was awesome, because as we did it, it was like this kind of energy just like flows inside of you, and you feel recharged, and you feel like you can conquer anything. So now you saying that, I'm like, whoa, that is impressive. If you can actually, if you got it, kind of like do the positive stacking with the results that you've gotten, then you're gonna go into the sales call with so much energy, so excited to actually close that call, that is gonna be amazing. So that was an amazing tip.
And it sets the pre-frame so that it's not about you on the call, and you're not fighting with yourself, but you're fighting for the other person. And you're fighting for the other person because of how you've helped your past clients. Like that's the kind of confidence we need.
That's amazing. So
for sure,
tell me, like, how do you find that, like that element? Because that's not easy to find, right? That fire, if you're helping people, and then how do you teach that to the people that you work with?
Yeah. I think it's really, really important to consider, I think a couple of things. The first thing that I teach my clients is we obviously focus on the sales, and we go into the mindset of like, okay, so why aren't you closing? And the first thing that will always show up is because of how they're bringing, how people are, what people are experiencing in their current program. So it's like, okay, where are the dips? Where are people dropping off? Why aren't they getting results?
Yeah.
And we talk about that. And it's like, okay, let's fix the actual system that you're selling, right?
Yeah.
Let's fix the program that you're selling. So as soon as that's fixed and they start to see momentum and start to see the clients actually getting results from their like 1, 2, 3 blueprint that will actually get them the thing that they paid for, then that's great. But then the second thing is they can now use that evidence, and they need to understand that how you bring someone in is how someone will go out. If you bring someone in and you bring them in through like manipulation, fear, scarcity, just like a lot of like sleaziness, salesiness, then you can expect that when they come in, they're going to be paralyzed because they have so much fear that they're not going to act, that they're not going to get results. And they're also going to feel like an obligation to you instead of an obligation to themselves. They're also going to put all the responsibility for those results in your hands. And that's not what we want either. We put money in our own pockets. We do not put money in other people's banks. Yeah. So I think that it's like these two really critical lessons is like, let's first look at the results that you are getting your clients. And if you're not, fix that. And then second, like, then we look at the enrollment piece, and it's like, if you enroll them from a place of love, not wanting or needing them, if you enroll from a place of like, I really know that this can help you, or I really know that this won't help you, and like, we're just going to end the call here, and I'm going to refer you out to someone else. If you enroll with honesty, love, empowerment, and them being able to choose that choice and make that choice with you, guess what it's going to be like in your program? They're going to feel like so empowered. They are going to make decisions for themselves. Those decisions are going to come from a place of confidence and love and respect for you instead of like fear, obligation, and manipulation, which if it happens like that, then you're going to leave. And I have so many programs from my past that I can also like vet and say that was my experience. Like how I went in is how I went out.
Yeah.
And so those two things are so, so important to me. Results for your current clients is also going to affect the enrollment for your prospects. And like, if you can nail and if certainly there's like good techniques that you can use and sales techniques to make it better so that your conversion rates go up. But the biggest conversion rate, like meter and thermometer that you can use to like raise it to like above room temperature is results.
Yeah, I love that, kind of like operating with your values, right? Like, and your morals. And again, it's like you have an obligation to the person that you are pretty much like you're offering your service to. And so I absolutely love that. How you bring them, right, is how you keep them pretty much. And I want to relate a little bit to our past, because there was a moment where we operated a little bit from need, right? It's like, oh, we need to close. You
literally
clients.
Just read my mind. I was about to ask the same question. It's like we're brothers or something. Okay,
it looks like
good.
it.
Okay.
So we operated from this place of need, like, oh, we need to go get clients and stuff. And doing that, obviously, we weren't doing the right service for the people that we were servicing. And at the same time, we were doing a disservice to ourselves, because then we're looking for people that we don't enjoy working with.
Yes.
Right? So you mentioned that if you find people that you know inside that you cannot help, it's okay to refer them to others, right? Finally, like, we understand that now, and we're so grateful for everything that we've learned about sales, and you're a big part of it, just so you know. So what would you tell those that are listening, right, that are coming from a place of need, that they might be like, how can I deny someone paying me, even if like the service, like if I can adapt it a little bit or whatnot? Like, what would you tell those people?
That's such a good question. I love that question. I think two things. One, I think that there's a difference between having need and being needy. So I think that we all have needs. Like, at the end of the day, all of us need to pay our bills, right? But it's the difference between like needing to pay the bills and like being needy and so financially dependent on the person that you're on the phone call with that completely sabotages the entire experience. So I think the second thing, in order to not do that and not be needy, is it's really, really important to understand you will always attract the type of customer based on the coaches that you buy from. And let me explain, like, who you buy from is the customer you're going to attract. It's so important that you are intentional about the coaches that you hire. I cannot emphasize this enough, because the coaches that you hire are a mirror of clients that you'll start attracting.
Yep.
And so I think one of the biggest things to fix this is asking yourself, like, who am I? Because who I am is going to be a mirror of the kind of clients that are going to enroll.
Yeah.
And on top of that, number 3, I would say to fix this is, so investment, sometimes you're like, I think number 2 is like, investment is sometimes really difficult when you feel needy, but it's oftentimes the best answer, honestly.
yeah.
The best answer. And then number 3 is how to fix it is you have to have the long-term game in plan. What do I mean by that? I mean, so many coaches are not considering the lifetime value of their customers. They're considering, when you're needy, all you're thinking about is the credit card number you're collecting.
Yeah.
And you're not thinking, but when you're in need, but not needy, and you're focusing on the prospect, you're thinking about, okay, what is their journey and what are their results going to look like in 3 months? So that by the end of their contract, they're going to come to you and you're not even going to have made an offer before they ask you if they can sell you so that they can buy from you again. Right.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. That's what you want.
Yeah.
And so to get out of that place, you have to have a long-term view. Like, business will never be sustained. It will never be sustainable to get just quick wins that are take their money, but not knowing that they're going to get them results. Because if you do them really in the journey of getting results, you can guarantee that they're going to show up with their credit card again. Just like when I was on a midnight with Russell Brunson, or people to the left and to the right of me on this midnight mastermind for 3 hours before he was teaching, and they were going, take my money, take my money. And he hadn't even made an offer. And why is that? Because the 100 people that were in that room on that crew had already gotten results by following his blueprint.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so much good information, honestly.
Yeah, I love it, and I wish we could have 30 more minutes. So Brooke, I'm just committing you right now. We're gonna have to do a take 2 for the show, just so you know. So to start wrapping it up a little bit, because you touch obviously on the sales side, but those are all principles that we can apply all the way up front with your content, with the way that you communicate with your audience, because the way that you bring them into your sales process and the way that you execute that sales process is the way that they're going to stay with you, which is amazing. So everything is related. And a lot of people out there see the marketing and the content a separate process than the sales, but what it really is just one single process, right, with different Lego pieces. So I love that you brought that. And then, so since we're closing down, we always leave our audience with an action point, right? So you know that you have so many secrets, but for somebody that deals with content on a daily basis, or are starting to look into this high ticket sales game, right? They have a business and they have, what is something that they can execute now that is simple enough for them to take action that you would recommend?
That I'd recommend. I think the best thing that they can do is consider frameworks instead of just words on a script. Consider why you're doing what you're doing on sales calls before you try to do what you need to do. Because it's not what you say, it's the intention that you say it with that will make the most difference. Ooh. And that is the number one thing that I start my clients with on their journey with my 6-figure sales script is literally, okay, you're not just going to learn the words on this page, but I want you to understand the frameworks and the why behind the principles and the words there. Because if you understand the why, you can go off script and you can do anything and say anything that you want, because that is what they're going to buy. They're going to buy you. They're not going to buy the paper. Yeah. So I want you to be authentically you and understand the principles that govern why you say what you say, so you can just close them on with your personality and with your authenticity, and not just some type of font that you're reading word for word.
I love it. That was beautiful. That's perfect.
And I want to let people know that we've actually seen that in action.
Yes.
She literally grabbed like a testimony from her customer, and in that same spot, she like did a whole framework selling, I guess, right? And we were like, whoa. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, Brooke, on behalf of the Biz Bros and Continuous Profit, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and, you know, allowing us to have these couple questions with you and allowing us to just hang out. It was awesome.
So much fun.
Yeah.
So where can people find you?
Needs to remember that sales drives marketing and marketing drives sales. Like, if you can have the Biz Bros with the Brooke Bros, I don't know how we put that together, but like content will drive sales and sales will drive content. Like that is the game changer for any business.
Yeah. Amazing.
So Brooke, where can the listeners find you?
Yeah, so they can go into two places. One, they can go into my Facebook group, which is high ticket selling for online entrepreneurs.
Yep.
Or they can also visit and see and learn the frameworks and the script by going to www.sixfigurescript.com, and they can learn all about the frameworks, all about the script, and start their journey to closing authentically with a long-term view with their customers in mind.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And for the listeners, go right now. Don't even think about it, because we have been part of some master classes that she's done. We are in her Facebook group, and it's amazing the amount of value. Is active all the time. Is great to be there. So thank you so much, Brooke, again.
Brooke, don't hang up. We need you 2 minutes after the show. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much. Please go ahead, subscribe in Continuous Profit. Go follow Brooke in everything that she just said, and follow us on social media at BizBrosCo, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much, and bye-bye. Awesome, Brooke. We're still on Facebook, but we're going to say bye, Facebook, because
Facebook.
I know that I have time. That's a commitment, and that's awesome. All right, bye, Facebook.